Hey, Muffin here. So, subscriber request doing another showdown. These are probably the most requests I do, but I don't like to do the same thing over and over, or just not so much over and over, but just back to back. I like to add a bunch of different variety, just different flavors for different types of videos throughout my channel. So doing another showdown here. I know a lot of my subscribers have been asking for different ones. Keep staying tuned. Do have them on my list, and I do plan to do them. Just plan on kind of spreading them out a little bit. So this one is actually quite an interesting one because we're just starting out here 3v3 and it's going to get all the way up. I think we get to 6v6. The Object 268 versus the Tier 10 Japanese tank destroyer, the Ho-Ri. Now, both tanks really good. There are some differences about these tanks, and I'll go over and talk about those differences. Now, the Object 268 does not have as good of DPM or rate of fire as the Ho-Ri. The Ho-Ri's penetration on the standard round is slightly better, and then on the premium round they're the exact same. So both these tanks have some pretty good penetration. Now the Object 268 does have a higher average damage per shot, but the armor profile of the Ho-Ri is better and honestly quite impressive, especially if you look at the armor profile of the Ho-Ri. It is actually quite flat, but honestly it is a very maneuverable tank, and when you start angling that armor, it can become quite difficult to penetrate. And even through these games, these 3 rounds that we do, there's some pretty crazy bounces that happen from when the Object 268 is hitting against this Ho-Ri. Now, the Ho-Ri is a very impressive tank. I didn't realize how impressed I was with it until I actually got it. Now, in this first round, the Ho-Ri's definitely dominated the Object 268, which the Object 268 is really not that bad of a tank. Now, it definitely has come a long way. It wasn't always this good. As a matter of fact, the Object 268 back in the day used to be as stiff as a log. That thing had no gun depression, no gun. I mean, it was just like no gun arc, nothing. It just, whichever direction your tank was pointing in, that was the direction your cannon was pointing in. And it just was a bit of a painful tank to play. At least for me anyway. And they've over time increased the gun depression, the gun arc, and have done some things and some tweaking to it to actually make it a better tank. And so going into the second round here, so we do have more. So now we've got 5v5, is that right? Yep. So 5v5. Gonna go ahead now. One of the Ho-Ri's, poor Garion, kind of starting out on just a rough match here. Just already taken a couple hits here. Now the thing about the Ho-Ri, when you compare it to the Object 268, performance-wise and just going off of win rate, the Ho-Ri is actually doing better than the 268. However, there's fewer players that own the Ho-Ri. It is a newer tank. The Object 268 has been in the game for a lot longer. And my take on this, even before going into this, I thought it was kind of a tough call. Like I said, both these tanks are pretty good tanks, but yeah, I'm thinking that the Object 268 could have had the edge just with that higher average damage cannon. But so far, just from after seeing some of these matches, that is changing my mind. I mean, what a crazy bounce. And look at that. The Object 268 has incredible penetration. As a matter of fact, some of the best in the game. And even with all that really flat armor on the front, it is impressive just how much it is still bouncing. Now the Ho-Ri does have a faster traverse than the Object 268. Ooh, close. This is quite an incredible game. So we are down to 2 Ho-Ris that are fairly low on health. That could be a one hit by the Object 263. Now, the 263 is full health. Now, we're going to go ahead and just fast forward this because there is a bit of maneuvering around and trying to get like a good angle, and the Ho-Ris are trying to be really careful. So just going max fast forward. Ooh, close. And almost just not quite able to back up enough, getting hit, making this just a little bit more intense. Nisk just trying to use that HE round, which when you have an opponent on very low health, that HE round just makes sense, because where the Object 268 has such a high average damage, you could end up knocking a tank out regardless of penetrating them. So all the Object 268 needs is just one hit, most likely just an HE round. Doesn't even have to penetrate these to knock them out. All right, Ho-Ri's going in. Only about a minute left on the clock. So far, Ho-Ri's 1, Object 268's 0. Let's see if they can make a comeback. Ooh, and so close. Getting another shot off on the Object 268. Things are not looking too good. The other one coming up close behind. 30 seconds left on the clock. Oh, and just barely missing the top. These are some close calls. So still a little bit, oh, and great shot there on top, but unfortunately looks like this one's gonna end in a draw. So still only one for Object 268. One win for them, or excuse me, one win for Ho-Ri, 0 for Object 268. We're gonna go into another round here and see if the Ho-Ri will take it home and be the winner of this showdown, or if the 268 is gonna make a comeback to even the score. Getting some great shots there just on the side of that 268. making it very, very unfortunate for him. Now, in these battles where these turretless battles, I guess you can say, of just TDs versus TDs, it does make it quite challenging because you can kind of side scrape, but honestly, the problem with tank destroyers that don't have any sort of rotating turret is in order to get the shot off the enemy, most of the time you have to expose your entire tank facing that enemy in order to take the shot off. There is no peeking out around corners, turning your turret just over like a dune or something. It makes it, you're much more vulnerable in that state when trying to get shots off. So one, now two. 268s have fallen. One Ho-Ri down. And wow, did not penetrate the armor, even though that looked like it was a good shot on that Ho-Ri. Like I said, quite impressive. This Ho-Ri's armor frontally is a beast, considering how flat it is. And with how maneuverable its traverse is, I mean, it is an impressive tank. You wiggle in this thing, and there's a good chance you're going to bounce. There has been many times I have taken shots at that Ho-Ri thinking that, oh, I easily have this shot because of how much flat armor there is. And it just does not pan out that way. So things are not looking too good for the 268. Only one left. And 3 Ho-Ris left. Quite easily cutting through that 268's armor. So all in all, honestly, after watching this, doing the comparisons, I personally think the Ho-Ri is the better tank. It has better traverse. Honestly, even though it's very flat in terms of its armor profile, you just wiggle that tank and it can be quite trollish with still a great cannon, good accuracy and penetration. So anyway, this is the Muffin here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.